Hey everybody, and welcome back to a brand new video. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, so go ahead and get your cup of coffee because I've got mine. And in this video we are going to be talking about the concept of shooting at moving vehicles. Now look, I could get extremely mathematical and complicated, draw all sorts of angles and data points on the screen and talk about concepts of relative velocity and distances, but the fact of the matter is that when you're in the middle of an engagement, none of that shit really matters. You don't have enough time to take a time out and freeze frame and do all the calculations, figure out what the best course of action is, and then hit play. That's just not how PUBG Mobile works. So, instead of making this complicated, instead of making this mathematical, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and give you guys some general guidelines that I think will help you in your engagements when it comes to shooting at moving vehicles. Now, I want to preface this really quickly by saying that I am still learning and growing as a player, but I often play with people who are more inexperienced than myself, and it is really to help those people that I'm making this video, but I hope that this will be beneficial for others who are watching this also. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, the first piece of advice, the single most fundamental thing I can tell you when it comes to shooting at vehicles is that you want to shoot at the people inside those vehicles, okay? Not the vehicles themselves. So if they're in a Dacia or if they're in a UAZ, you need to shoot at the windows. I know this sounds like obvious no-brainer common sense knowledge, but the vast majority of the people, including myself when I was new at the game, do not do that. Most people, when they shoot at a car, they shoot at the car, literally. And shooting at the car can be beneficial in some specific situations, but generally it does not usually result in knockouts, and as a result the enemy will usually just get past you and they will stop at the first sight of cover, heal up, and they can then reset the engagement. Consider a situation where you know a squad is going to push you, and you and your squad are not yet ready for it. This might be immediately after they've maybe knocked one or two of your guys and they're about to push, and if at that point you can just laser focus as an individual or as a group and just pop the driver while they're pushing at you, that can be the difference between going back to the lobby or getting a W. If you knock the driver, the rest of the squad is stranded in the open and they are in big trouble, and at the very least what you've now done is you've accomplished to buy some more time for you and your squad to regroup. So I cannot stress this enough, but if you're shooting at someone in a car, you want to shoot at the windows. Now, asking you to shoot at a tiny sliver of a window in a vehicle that is moving at 100 kilometers an hour is not easy, and it's not something that you'll incorporate in your game overnight. But if it's something you're aware of, and if it's something that you try to do every single time you're in one of these situations, I promise you, you will get better. You can see proof of that in the videos that are running in the background right now. I want you to notice specifically here in this next example, I'm going for this drop and I've got my buddy here who calls out and he tells me that I have a vehicle coming straight for me. And you'll notice that I'll immediately aim for the driver's side window. In fact, I hardly even get a scratch on the car itself. Here's another example. I hear a car coming straight for me, and I am immediately trying to knock down the driver. Now in this situation, somehow the driver survives and I get knocked even though I felt I was out of the way, but hey, I still managed to pop 2 and get a ton of damage onto the last guy, and that just makes things so much easier for my squad. Oh, and by the way, if you're enjoying the video so far, don't forget to smash that like button. So if you guys are just able to start incorporating the things that we have talked about so far, you will already be a substantially better player when it comes to these sort of engagements. But I also want to now talk about when it comes to shooting at vehicles and moving targets at some sort of a range. Now, when the targets are at a range, there are a lot of different factors that you have to sort of mentally think about. When you shoot a bullet, right, it has a certain amount of speed, it has a certain amount of time that it takes to travel from point A to point B. And if you're shooting at a stationary target, it's all fun and easy, but shooting at a moving target is no longer so simple, because if you shoot at the target, by the time your bullet reaches that target, the target will no longer be there. Consider the infographic on the left of the screen. So if you shoot at the car, by the time the bullets get there, the car will have already moved on. So there's this concept of leading the target, and what that means is that you have to shoot where you anticipate the target will be, where that vehicle will be, rather than actually shooting at the vehicle itself. So consider now the infographic on the right of the screen, and you'll notice that we are shooting at a point in space in front of the car where we anticipate the car to be rather than its current location, and that is when we will start getting some hits in. Now, you might ask me, well, how much do I lead? And to that I'll say, well, you tell me. How far away is the target? What's the angle between you and the target? What's the speed at which the target is moving? What gun are you using? Have I scared you yet? Don't be scared, because the most important thing is that you first start to lead the target, and once you get into your spray, you can adjust accordingly based on where your bullets are hitting. So if you feel like you're leading the target too much, you can lead a little bit less, and vice versa. Once you start practicing this, you will start developing a general feel for how much you want to lead in each situation. Oh, and just by the way, I want to say, don't forget the fundamental rule that we talked about earlier. When we lead the target, we want to lead the window of the vehicle, not the front bumper, not anything else, because we want to hit the people inside the car, not the car itself. So, as a general rule, the further away the target, the more you have to lead. The faster the target is traveling, the more you have to leave. So let's look at a few specific examples. Here, we have a motorcycle that's incoming, and I want you to see that even though this is just roughly 100 meters or so, because the motorcycle is so fast, I lead the target a lot. Let's look at another example. And once again, in slow motion, I want you to notice the further away the UAZ gets, the more I start to lead. Alright folks, that's all I've got for today. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I hope you guys learned something new in this video, and if you did, be sure to drop a like and subscribe for more future content like this, and be sure to try out some of the things that we've talked about in this video. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you guys in the next video.